He is very glad that he has destabilized the region.
Hmm.
He is very glad that there will be no further negotiations with Hamas about the release of the hostages.
Actually want to talk about Qatar, which is, some would argue, even a bigger state supporter of terrorism than Iran. Hamas has been has
Joining me on this segment of Global Pulse is KP Fabian, former Indian ambassador to Qatar, somebody who understands the region very well. We also have with us Karys Rhea, an American political commentator. She joins us from Washington, D.C. tonight. Thank you to both my guests. Ambassador Fabian, let me begin with you. What do you make of Netanyahu's actions, the fact that he's gone ahead and carried out these airstrikes on Qatar, not only a country that happens to be a major ally of the United States of America, but a country that was really the backbone of the ceasefire negotiations and the peace talks that have been going on for the last 2 years? Most are calling this action reckless and fear that this could further destabilize the region. What's your view? Ambassador Fabian, could you unmute yourself?
One second, let me try.
We can hear you now, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. You said that, Netanyahu's action has further destabilized the region. Well, I think we have to understand the man Netanyahu and his intentions. He is very glad that he has destabilized the region. He is very glad that there will be no further negotiations with Hamas about the release of the hostages. He couldn't care less about the hostages. And as you know, he is also, I was reading that he is giving testimony on corruption charges against him. So that is a man. Now, you said that he said that he has acted like America, sort of assassinating Osama bin Laden and all that. But a slight correction. Netanyahu himself sent his representatives to Doha to talk to the Hamas leaders how many times? And so there is a difference. And another thing is, what is his intention? His intention is to, sort of spread the crisis and make look as though Israel has no option but to hang on to him, even then, even when corruption charges are going on. And here is a man who wants to hang on to his office at any cost, coûte que coûte. It doesn't matter. And in fact, I was reading in the Haaretz that whether Israeli democracy today, Haaretz, can be redeemed at all with Netanyahu in place. And another thing is that what have the Arab neighbors done? They have rushed to Doha, but I read again in the Haaretz that Qatar has asked UAE to close down the Israeli embassy. Now, if that were to happen, I'm sure that Netanyahu will get the message. Either he will stop being so violent and mad, or he will be replaced, and then there can be some hope for a move towards peace.
You know, fact is that he's also using the ongoing war as an excuse, perhaps, to not hold fresh elections in the country, saying that, a country that's at war cannot go to elections. And therefore, many Netanyahu critics have reason to believe that he has a vested interest in prolonging this conflict. Let me take this to Karys. Karys, Ambassador Fabian says that this is a man who wants to cling to power at any cost. He's happy that he's destabilizing the region. He perhaps wants to spread the crisis further. And he doesn't care at all about the hostages. Now, fact of the matter is that, by carrying out these strikes on Qatar, what Netanyahu tried to do was to bomb the negotiators themselves. And now the Qatari Prime Minister is saying Netanyahu can forget about getting back the remaining hostages.
Well, I think it's rich that my fellow speaker over here seems to know what is in the heart of Netanyahu and yet relies on Haaretz, which is the most extreme leftist trash in Israel that literally has to rely on gullible international readers like the ambassador here because they cannot find any purchase among Israelis, not left-wing Israelis, of which they are many, and certainly not right-wing Israelis. Their Hebrew edition is basically out of print because nobody relies on it because it is a progenitor of fake news. Now, do we really want to talk about Netanyahu, or do we actually want to talk about Qatar, which is, some would argue, even a bigger state supporter of terrorism than Iran? Hamas has been controlling and had their command and control center in Doha since 2012. You want to talk about these negotiators? In truth, some of the people that were targeted by this strike have tanked every single deal that could have freed the hostages. Targeted, and also Qatari and media press secretaries, whoever you want. These are people that, if you look at what they have said, they have openly supported the Houthis. They have praised Yahya Sinwar. They have told us things like we are all Hamas. They have asserted that jihad is the only way forward. And yet Times of India wants to paint this duplicitous playing both sides nation as some sort of peace sponsoring entity that is just negotiating for the hostages in good faith. These people have sent hundreds of millions to Hamas over the years.
You're saying the Times of India is painting them as a peace-loving nation. Let me remind you, you're talking to us from the United States of America, and the United States of America considers Qatar an ally. May I remind you that the largest military base of the United States of America in the Gulf is in Qatar. Only 4 months ago, the President of the United States of America visited Qatar and was given a red carpet treatment, not to mention the $400 million jet that has been gifted to him controversially. The same United States of America seems to be displeased with the actions of Netanyahu, saying that they should not have gone after an American ally and a country that has been at the forefront of the negotiations. And Karys, let me ask you this. Apart from the fact that the United States, the country that you're speaking to us from, obviously considers Qatar an ally, a country you want to call a state sponsor of terror, if Netanyahu always believed that they were, sponsoring and harboring terrorists, why on earth was he sending his negotiators to Doha for the last 2 years?
Well, first of all, to answer that question directly and then correct the record on what you said earlier, Netanyahu has to thread the needle and walk the line between the fact that he is a very close ally of President Trump and the United States of America. So he has to show some sort of leeway here. But even in the Knesset, they have debated in Israel designating Qatar a terrorist state for a long time. Now, let's go back to what you said. You're painting this picture as if Trump condemned this and that was the end of it. I recall reading Trump's statement about this as a wink and a nod. I read this and I read him saying, yes, this was an attack on a sovereign nation. They're our allies. But you know what? Our bigger goal is to release the hostages and eliminate Hamas.